Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, as I watch these episodes, I find myself having to push through. And that doesn't mean I'm saying they're bad, but I find as I watch these episodes, I'm finding myself having to push through them. And I don't want to do a House of the Dragon comparison, but when I watch House of the Dragon, I feel like I'm trying to keep up with it, where the plot lines are going, who's trying to plot with what. Just I'm trying to keep up with it. Whereas with Lord of the Rings, I feel like I'm just trying to push through it. But yeah, honestly, I'm enjoying the show, but I just really had to get that out there. So let me get into the full Lord of the Rings episode 3 review. Hello. This is your boy Brandon Correia, aka EF Hunt of Entertainment. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you think you'd be interested in content like this, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power episode reviews, Andor's around the corner, reviews for that, House of the Dragon episode reviews, She-Hulk episode reviews, trailer reactions. If you'd be interested in content like that, if you'd be interested in long-form podcasts, the Brandon Correia podcast, you can watch it here on YouTube with my co-host DeMar, where we get into sports, hip-hop, and all the movie topics, some of the movie topics that I discuss myself. So if you'd be interested in that, subscribe to the Brandon Correia Network. You will not regret it. So let's get into this episode 3 review. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, one of the biggest, I guess, negative things I have to say is with this show, the pacing is probably one of my biggest issues. Outside of that, the show is amazingly shot. It's gorgeous. It looks like you could tell from jump that they said that they spent a lot of money on this show, and you could tell from the beginning, like without even kind of guessing. Whereas, like, there's certain shows and stuff that you watch that you may be watching and you're like, how did they spend $100 million like on this? Like, where did the money go? With this, all the money went exactly where your eyes are looking, right on all that. The money's right there. So it looks absolutely amazing, but the pacing to me is a problem. Like I said, I find myself having to push through these episodes. But the episode starts with Galadriel and Halbrand being picked up by, I think it's Elendil. So forgive me if I'm messing up these names. In the comments, please, if you watch this and I make a mistake, correct me. You know what I mean? You don't have to roast me, but just correct me a little bit, because I am open to learning more about the lore. So just, if I'm on the right track, or if there's a detail that you think I should know, just let me know in the comments. So they're picked up by Elendil, and they're basically brought to Numenor. And sorry for being on my phone, but I just got some of my notes. So Numenor was a kingdom of men established on an island, brought up by the sea by the Valar in the early Second Age. And basically, after the Great War with Morgoth, the Valar took pity on the 3 houses of Edain for their sufferings and gifted the survivors of the island Numenor, basically, right? So, and we see Galadriel kind of touch on that in the episode, basically being like you should like this was gifted to you, so you should just like kind of honor those people and kind of like just kind of have me with open arms. But from the Queen's perspective, she was like, no, this is kind of like our reparations for providing our armies and our back and our blood to trying to win that battle. So while this is happening and us as the audience is getting more details of the story and just where the story is heading, we basically see her kind of go off by herself, which she ends up like escaping and kind of just meeting Elendil later on, and I'll get into that. But we see Halbrand basically kind of talking to her, and he's like, I'm tired of running. Like, I just want to kind of just be here and chill, basically. You know what I mean? And I'm forming and summarizing. But we see why near the end, why he's kind of running away and kind of just wanting to chill for a bit. So I'll get into that. But we see Halbrand kind of going his way, and he's basically trying to, like, I don't know if he's trying to find work and just so he could like just chill in the city, but he's trying to find work as like a blacksmith, and doesn't work out. So he ends up seeing like these guards that have like that, like a pin that gives them permission to blacksmith and forge things in this city. So at first he was kind of like being aggressive and abrasive with these guys, because he was at the bar, he was at like a restaurant just eating, and there was some guys kind of just giving him a little bit of attitude and stuff. And he ends up basically kind of like giving them attitude, but then he's like, you know what? That's my bad. Ends up buying everybody rounds, kind of cuts, seems like it's a good time. And he ends up teething the guy's pin because I don't know exactly why he wants the pin so bad. Let me know in the comments if you know why he was trying to steal that pin so bad, like what his end goal is. But the guys are like, yo, you know what I mean? Like the one guy that he stole the pin from and his brethren are like, yo, you don't think we would have saw you did that? And they ran up on him, and Hellbrand basically just snapped and went crazy on these guys, smashing heads into walls, breaking man's wrist over, you know what I mean, in wall. Like, yo, the man went crazy. And then he got ran up on by guards, got put in prison, right? So it then cuts back to Galadriel and Elendil, and they're having a conversation. He's like, do you want to go riding? They go ride. He ends up showing her this, like, it's like a library of sorts, right? But I think it was made by, and again, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think it was made by Elros, Elrond's brother. And they're talking, and she mentioned, she's like, I was actually closer to, because I guess he's talking about Elros, but she's like, I was closer to her brother, because obviously we see in the first 2 episodes her relationship with Elrond. So they're basically in that library, and they basically stumble upon like these, like a text, like there's like a librarian that brings out a book to them, and she basically stumbles upon this thing and puts 2 and 2 together, that by the Southlands, which I'm pretty sure is foreshadowing. And again, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, Lord of the Rings people, but I'm pretty sure they're foreshadowing that the Southlands will turn into Mordor. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so she puts that together, basically being like, you know what I mean, like Sauron is back, or and the orcs are coming, and there's danger coming, basically, kind of putting that together. So while that is going on in Numenor, there's basically these side stories, or the other stories of the Harfoots with Brandy and Brandy with, I think Brandy's her friend, right? But and Nori, and we basically just see they're like the Harfoots are in the process of migrating, and while they're kind of like in like a big meeting, just kind of remembering their fallen people, and we see that Nori's friend, like I guess her whole family kind of got left behind because they were during the migration. But we see that the man that fell from the comet, and my guess is that they're foreshadowing it to be Gandalf. And again, you know what? I don't even want to go that, because that's the blatant choice. So I'm not even gonna do a guess with who the Comet Man could be. I'm gonna forget that. So the Comet Man basically runs up on the camp, starts a little fire, and causes bear ruckus, and obviously the Harfoots now see this guy, and there's a point where they're like, yo, like, just leave them behind, like, you this is how we survive, like, you're bringing danger into the camp, whatever. And Nori's like, you know what I mean, I gotta stay with them, like, I feel like there's something bigger, I have to help him out in some way. So the lead of the Harfoot, like the head Harfoot, Sadag Burrows, which is like the leader of the Harfoots, was basically like, Nori's young, hasn't even grown hair on her feet yet. So, and she's like, you know what I mean? She has a lot to learn. Just let's give her the benefit of the doubt. They could still come, but they have to be at the back of the caravan, like the back of the whole convoy. And the dad's ankles already mosh up already, right? So they're already like, we're going to have a hard time migrating. And you see, as they're migrating, they're having a hard time migrating. But we see that because the Comet Man kind of feels bad, and he's following them because, like, he feels bad, but he also, like, Nori's the only person that he really knows and kind of, I guess, feels comfortable around. He's following her. So we end up seeing him basically help them continue with the rest of the Harfoots to continue their journey. So it seems like they're going to be okay. And I guess, I don't know, it's hard for me not to say it's Gandalf, because obviously the gray beard and how he looks, but just, like, because, like, he's so close with the Harfoots, and I know that Harfoots are supposed to be different than hobbits in the text, like the Tolkien text, but they are, I guess, somewhat similar. So it's just like, I feel like it could be Gandalf, but again, I could be wrong. And while all these stories are jumping back and forth from these storylines, we also see the elf Arondir. And honestly, like, I'm really liking that actor and how he's portraying, like, that elf, and how obviously, like, right now he got captured and it shows him in the Southlands. And I actually like how in this show, how they're showing when they're going from different areas, they're going onto the actual Middle Earth map and kind of going across areas and showing where we are now. Because obviously this land is big, so, and there's people that aren't as familiar maybe with locations and how things may look. For me, I really enjoyed liking that they were going from, okay, we're in Numenor, now we're going to the Southlands, right? So seeing the Arendir stuff was kind of cool. The fight scene, he ends up getting captured and seeing the elf that he was kind of partnered with at the beginning. And there's a nice little fight scene. There's like a head captain elf or something like that. That's like, one of us needs to get out of here so we could escape. They end up helping him escape, and he ends up just getting killed because there's orcs just outside. And we see that Arendir gets dragged back in, and there's one of the orcs is like, take him to see, like, I can't remember the name, but we see like this figure kind of approaching, and the episode just ends. And like, I've been watching some videos, and some YouTube people are saying that that particular person could be Sauron himself. Let me know in the comments if you think that person in that moment, right at the end of the episode approaching, that kind of had like white hair, was Sauron. Let me know. But again, like, just jumping around from the storylines, that was a cool little moment. And again, if that is Sauron, I didn't think that they were going to be kind of introducing him already, even though like I am kind of saying the pacing needs to pick up a little bit. So maybe that now they kind of foreshadowed him a little bit and kind of revealed him a little bit. Maybe it'll kind of speed up. We could hope. So, and yeah, we don't see Elrond at all in this episode. We don't see anything from the dwarves, which again, that was probably, I love that stuff between Durin and Elrond. But touching more on all this other stuff that's kind of going on. And I'm interested to see when and how the Harfoot storyline will kind of tie into the rest of the overarching like narrative of the show. But yeah, no, I think that's it. Again, like I'm enjoying the show so far. Like, there's nothing in the show that's making me be like, I hate this, or making me not enjoy it. Honestly, other than the pacing maybe needing to pick up a bit, I'm enjoying it. It's an enjoyable watch. It, you know what I mean? For a fantasy show, we don't get a lot of like high end fantasy, not only from like a lore perspective, because it has a lot of just amazing lore to pull from, but it looks visually just like amazing. So high-end fantasy from that end. So honestly, we just got to enjoy it. We got this and we got House of the Dragon. So we just got to take it all in while we can. So I think that's it for this episode review. Like I said, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you think you'd be interested in content like this, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power reviews, House of the Dragon reviews, Andor reviews, She-Hulk reviews, trailer reactions, movie reviews, how The Woman King with Viola Davis is coming out next week. I'm going to be going to see that and doing a review for it. So got a bunch of stuff. Like I said, got the Brandon Correia podcast on here, video form. You can listen to the audio form only on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you're interested in that. But with my co-host Damar, we talk about some of this stuff. We get into hip hop, sports, all that good entertainment stuff. Some news kind of breaks and entertainment stuff that we'll get into. But if you're interested in that, subscribe to the Brandon Correia Network. You will not regret it. I appreciate you for watching. Catch you next time.